Kyoto, the cultural heart of Japan, ancient imperial capital of the country. Lose yourself in the maze-like alleyways of its traditional neighborhoods. Discover that perfect hidden tea shop. Become captivated by the historic architecture. And then relax in the natural, ethereal beauty that is uniquely Japanese. This is the perfect way to spend a 4-day trip in Kyoto. Compared to Tokyo, Kyoto is relatively small. Staying in central Kyoto near the main JR station or in the Sanjo area is recommended. This will give you multiple options for transit or exploration by foot. The main form of travel in Kyoto are the subways or the buses, and you should pick up an IC card on your first day to make the transfers easier. These can be used on all forms of public transport and can be refunded at the end of your trip. Bike rental shops can be found all over the city and are usually 1,000 to 2,000 yen per day, but many hotels and hostels will also offer free bikes to customers as a bonus. Day 1. Starting off your trip, I recommend my favorite spot in the city, Kiyomizu-dera, known as the Pure Water Monastery. Kiyomizu-dera was founded in the year 778, located on the foothills of Mount Ottawa. The temple offers stunning views of Kyoto. The main stage of Kiyomizu is particularly beautiful in autumn and spring with its maple or cherry trees respectively. The temple's name comes from the Ottawa waterfall, which is located at the base of the main hall. Its pure water is separated into 3 streams, which are said to bestow 3 forms of luck: 1 for longevity, 1 for success, and 1 for fortune in love. Using the long cups, you can drink from any of the streams, but be warned that drinking from all 3 is considered greedy. So which would you pick? The temple itself is not the only attraction here, as the traditional Edo-style streets, Ninenzaka and Sannenzaka, are some of Japan's most picturesque locations. Taking your time to explore and experience these streets is absolutely recommended. And departing Kiyomizu, be sure to walk down to the iconic view of the 5-story Yasaka Pagoda, which is the last remaining structure of the 6th century Hokkanji temple. Standing alone above the beautiful Kyoto Machiya homes makes it an unforgettable photo spot. From here, take your time walking through the streets towards Gion. There are many temples and gardens along the way, such as Kodaiji. Exploring in this direction will ultimately bring you to Yasaka Gion Shrine, famous for its hundreds of lanterns and summer festival. Yasaka can be visited at any hour of the day or night, but is best enjoyed in the evening. It also features a relaxing garden park. Leaving through Yasaka's main temple gates also offers one of those uniquely Japanese moments where the traditional and the modern meet, and it almost feels like you're stepping through time as you re-enter the city streets. From Yasaka, it's only a 5-minute walk to the main Gion area, Hanami-Koji Street, Kyoto's famous geisha district. Hanami-Koji is filled with beautiful shops, restaurants, and traditional tea houses in the Kyo Machiya style. And if you are lucky, you may catch a glimpse of a real geisha, also called geiko in Kyoto, or a maiko apprentice walking through the streets. However, they can be quite elusive during the day. If you just can't leave Kyoto without seeing a real geisha, then I recommend the Gion Cultural Corner performance, which is held every day at the end of the street. To conclude your first day in Kyoto, I recommend dinner along the Kamogawa River in either Pontocho Alley or any of the hundreds of beautiful places to dine and enjoy the evening in this part of Kyoto. Sanjo is one of my favorite Kyoto night spots, which is why I recommend staying either here or by the main JR station. To start day 2, arrive at Kiyage Station. Just outside the train station, you will find the Kiyage Incline, an old railway that is now one of Kyoto's top sakura spots. And if you come here in the spring, the earlier is the better, as photographers will be arriving even before sunrise. This part of Kyoto is famous for its Zen spiritual significance and beauty, which can be seen just down the road at Nanzenji Temple, one of Kyoto's most significant temples, which features a unique red brick aqueduct. From here, a 10-minute walk will take you right to the start of the Philosopher's Path, which is a 2-kilometer stone road along a canal lined with hundreds of sakura trees. Following the path to the end will bring you right to the Ginkakuji, known as the Silver Pavilion, which was once the home of an art-obsessed shogun and became the center of Higashiyama culture in Kyoto, which had significant impact on the culture of Japan as a whole. Tea ceremony, flower arrangement, Noh theater, poetry, and architecture across the country can be traced back to this time. The eastern Higashiyama area of Kyoto has so much that you could spend a full week just here. Nearby, you will find the Heian-Jingu Shrine or Kyoto Imperial Palace, and these are great choices after completing the Philosopher's Path. But for something slightly different and away from the typical tourist trail, consider nearby Okazaki Jinja, nicknamed Usagi Jinja or the Rabbit Shrine. This has got to be one of the cutest temples I have ever laid eyes on, with adorable rabbit statues and good luck charms that make for perfect souvenirs. If you want to completely devote this day to the theme of temples and Zen, then the perfect place to finish is Kyoto's Golden Pavilion, the Kinkakuji, although you will have to take a train or bus to northern Kyoto first, which will take about 45 minutes from here. The Kinkakuji and northern Kyoto's culture contrasted Higashiyama's, and it is a representative of the old ways. The temple itself was formerly the retirement home of the shogun Ashikaga Yoshimitsu, and after his death it became a Zen temple, as it was in his will. The top two floors are completely covered in gold leaf, which reflect on the pond and is perhaps one of the most well-known views of Japan, making it the perfect final attraction before grabbing a traditional Japanese dinner and relaxing for the night. Day 3. It's time to contrast the city in this trip, and also the perfect day for some relaxation in the natural beauty that Kyoto has on offer. Arashiyama can be reached from Kyoto main station in just 11 minutes if you are staying in that area. This is where you'll find the Sagano Forest, a stunning bamboo grove walk, particularly beautiful when it snows or when a warm summer breeze flows through the branches. Unfortunately, a victim of its own success, this location becomes busier as the day goes on, but by arriving in the early morning on a weekday, you can usually experience its serenity or get that perfect Japan pic without people in the frame. Walking through the forest will bring you to the Toroko Arashiyama station, where you can catch the romantic Sagano Railway, an old-fashioned open-air sightseeing train that runs along the Hozu River and canyon towards Kameoka. The 25-minute ride offers some amazing Japanese scenery and has different views for each season, with autumn being my favorite. There are some great hiking locations that can be found here, and you can either return on the JR train or take the 2-hour river cruise back, which is my recommendation. After returning, you can enjoy the sights of the Togetsukyo Bridge, which is the perfect place to sit down and enjoy a snack along the river, and then head up to the Iwatayama Monkey Park. The park costs 500 yen to enter and leads you up to the open mountainside, and all of the Japanese macaques you'll encounter are wild and mostly friendly. You can even feed them by hand while you enjoy the wide panoramic views of Kyoto. For the ultimate natural experience, and depending on how much of the day you have left, you could take a massive detour from here to the northern Kyoto coast at Amanohashi Date. This winding sandbar, lined with pines, is referred to as the bridge in heaven because of the tradition of turning around, bending over, and viewing it through your legs, which gives it the appearance of leading up into the heavens. It is also one of the Nihon Sankei, or Great Three Views of Japan. It's honestly breathtaking at sunset, and not too far from Amanohashi Date you will find Inecho, a fisherman house village which is called the Venice of Japan. The only disadvantage to this area is just how far out of the way it really is. From Arashiyama it will take about 2.5 hours by train, so I really only recommend it if you plan to stay there overnight. Alternatively, if you don't want to make the detour to Amanohashi Date, then for a uniquely Japanese experience you could ride the Kyochain Garaku, which departs from Kyoto Kawaramachi Station towards Osaka. This is a specialty train that has been remodeled to embody the spirit of Japan. Each car has a different theme, such as the Four Seasons, and features norin curtains and real tatami mats for seats. It even has its own Japanese stone garden right in the train. The Garaku train runs on weekends and national holidays, and amazingly doesn't require any reservation, just a normal train fare. You can ride this train down to Osaka for dinner and then return on a normal line back to Kyoto, or experience the lively city nightlife for a change of pace. Day 4. For your final day in Kyoto, we have saved one spot which absolutely cannot be missed, and that is Fushimi Inari, one of the most recognizable spots in all of Japan and ranked highest by tourists. This mountain shrine in Japan is legendary for its thousands of vermilion torii gates, the number of which is only increasing. In fact, you can sponsor your own gate but at a price of 400,000 yen or just under $3,000 minimum, it might be better to buy a slightly smaller souvenir. And in fact, Fushimi Inari is completely free to visit and is open all hours of the night and day, and is only 10 minutes away from Kyoto's main station by train, so you could visit here anytime throughout your trip, although I highly recommend going early in the morning as you can manage. Similar to Urashiyama, this spot is a victim of its own success and becomes busier throughout the day. One key difference between Fushimi and the Bamboo Grove, however, is that while the forest is quite short, walking through Fushimi's entire mountain loop will take around 2 hours. Most tourists only really visit the front, which is naturally the busiest part, but thanks to the sheer size of Fushimi, it's always possible to find your own spot to relax and take photos. And you are really rewarded for exploring. My favorite part is the secluded mossy retreat deep in the heart of the shrine. The streets close to Fushimi also have many market stalls and are great for a quick snack or a tea break at a local cat cafe. After a break or early lunch, you could explore the nearby Tofukuji temple or return to Kyoto Station, which in of itself is worth exploring for its incredible architecture and sky walkway, then strolling over to Higashi Honganji, a massive complex with 2 large temples. The central location of these 2 attractions mean that you could fit them in on any of the other 3 days without deviating too much from the other plans. However, my top recommendation after experiencing Fushimi would be to hop back on the train and go down to Uji, which is just 20 minutes away. Uji is a small city in southern Kyoto which is famous for its matcha green tea and the 2 rivers which flow through and divide the town. You can take a leisurely stroll along the riverbed towards Byoruin Temple and its gardens. The temple's Phoenix Hall is the very same that you'll find on the back of the Japanese 10-yen coin. As evening falls over your last day in Kyoto, there is one final special event you can witness, provided you are traveling between July and September, and that is ukai cormorant fishing. Ukai is the tradition of using birds to catch fish that has been practiced across Japan for centuries. Riding a boat to watch as the fishermen travel down the river, illuminating the waters with burning braziers, is truly magical and is certain to be an unforgettable last moment in the heart of Japan. Ukai can also be viewed at Urashiyama at the same time of the year that it's held in Uji, or from May to October in Gifu, which is just a few hours away from Kyoto. There is honestly just so much to do in Kyoto that it's hard to include it all. Some alternative activities for your trip could include kimono rental and photo shoots, trying specialty pufferfish in Gion, or a Japanese snow crab buffet and hot spring experience in Kinosaki Onsen. You can find out more information about these on Klook, a website that offers discount ticket prices, JR passes, tour packages, and car rental in Japan, and by using the link in my description and the code INAKA5OFF, you can receive further discounts for your trip while helping to support my channel. Kyoto is also located in central Kansai, Japan, which makes it perfect for taking 1 or 2 day side trips to a nearby city. Nara is just 40 minutes away by train and is among the most popular places in Japan due to its famous deer park, where wild but friendly deer will bow to you in return for feeding them a delicious senbei cracker. Toraiji Temple, the largest wooden structure in Japan, which houses a massive 50-foot bronze statue of Buddha, is found right in the park. Nara can be comfortably visited in 2 to 3 hours before returning to Kyoto, which I absolutely recommend if you have a free afternoon. Osaka can also be reached from Kyoto in 30 to 40 minutes and has a lively, exciting atmosphere which is uniquely its own. Street food along the Dotonbori Canal is recommended, but you can also visit Universal Studios Japan and the newly opened Super Nintendo Land. I also highly recommend the Kaiyukan Aquarium, the second largest in Japan, where you can view into its massive ocean tank that houses its own whale shark. Osaka is worthy of its own itinerary video, which I will also be releasing, so subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Castle buffs might also enjoy a small trip down to Himeji, which takes 45 minutes by bullet train if you're using the JR Pass, or 90 minutes by local trains. Himeji Castle is by far the largest and most beautiful of all the castles in Japan. The best season to visit Kyoto, in my opinion, will always be autumn. Many of Kyoto's locations are most beautiful with their autumn foliage at this time, and the temperature is just perfect for exploring the city by foot or bike. Spring is my second favorite time to visit Kyoto, but it is also the busiest time of the year. Booking early during this time is important, and certain Kyoto locations like the Philosopher's Path and Keyagi are at their best in this season. Planning ahead is important, however, because the cherry blossoms will only be at peak blooming for 1 or 2 weeks out of the year. Fortunately, you can check when this will be months in advance by searching for the Sakura forecast, which is released with updated times each year. Summer and winter are interesting seasons to travel to Kyoto, but not ones that I recommend to everyone. Travelers to Kyoto in summer will be able to see one of Japan's largest festivals, Gion Matsuri, where massive floats are pulled through the main road. But Japanese summers are quite brutal, reaching over 38 degrees Celsius or over 100 Fahrenheit with 100% humidity. And unless you're prepared for this heat, then you may be at a very real risk of heat stroke. The oppressive temperature also makes it much more difficult to travel between locations on foot or explore during the day, which in my opinion is the best way to experience Kyoto. Winter is my least recommended season, as it is the least beautiful time to visit the city, the only real advantage being that there are fewer tourists at the places you'll visit and the cheaper travel prices. One caveat though is that Kyoto absolutely transforms in the snow, shooting right back up to being some of the most beautiful spots in Japan. Unfortunately, in recent years this is unpredictable and it will rarely snow for more than a few days, but you might just get lucky. But before you come to Japan, there are certain things that you need to know about its culture and the unspoken rules of its society, and you can find out what I wish I knew before coming to Japan in this video here, and I'll see you again very soon.